Good morning, bro at Nam, folks and friends. Here we are again. It's Monday morning. Wake up, wake up, wake up, cause it's the 15th of the month. Wake up, wake up, wake up. It's the 15th of the month. Wake up. It's the 15th of the month. How are you all doing today? Carcinogens in the house. Benson, hello there. Why was the broom late for work on Monday morning? Simply because he overswept. And what day of the wolves makes werewolves howl? Moonday. All right. When did the king have a jousting contest? On Monday night. And Monday morning, here we are on the 15th of the day. 15th day of the month. 15th day of the 5th month this year. Thank you, folks, for tuning in. Today, a little late than usual, but oh my, am I excited to be here. I could not start my week without saying hello to you folks. It would have been a travesty not to do the show today. Even though Brody was working, everybody was working for the weekend. And that's just the way it goes sometimes. Trying to get by. The working man doing the best that he can. Just like you folks here. Tune in each and every day on the channel. We are working hard to bring you folks some cardboard content here on the morning show. Let's get down to business. All right, folks, do you like tracking the prices of Magic cards? Is there enough information out there, or is there too much information? Let me do it for you. We're doing it each and every day, Monday through Friday here on the morning show. This is Brody Alfonso saying welcome all of y'all to the channel, the 312 of you amazing subscribers who love this game as much as we do. Thanks again for tuning in once again. I got myself a cup of coffee. It's gonna taste good here today. Just sitting on standby, ready to go. Wherever you've got Brody here this morning, whether you got me dragging from the bumper of the car, maybe you got me in your back pocket next to the coffee pod here this morning. I want to thank you folks once again for tuning in on the morning show. It's going to be a good one. I hope your weekend was good. What'd you get up to? Play a little Magic, the Gathering? Did you get dragged into work? Did you have to do some chores? Were you out fighting forest fires? If you were, thank you very much. Smokey the Bear says only you can prevent forest fires. It's a little bit crazy out there in the world. We've got some news articles for you folks here today. But before we get started, let's warm up with a couple of AI generated Magic cards. We haven't looked at those in a while, so it's going to be good to see what's coming at us here in the world of AI as the AI learns and earns more time. Us viewers, we know your time is valuable. We don't intend to waste it. So if the card is playable any way whatsoever, you're going to hear this sound. Let's bring that up just a little bit. The dinger is feeling weak today. Played Pioneer and some Commander. Nice. And some Spell Table. Fantalio, how you doing this morning? Thanks for joining us. If the card's no good, if it's busted, if it's got some gibberish on the card anyway whatsoever, it's a word salad perhaps, you'll hear this sound. Oh yeah, the sound of the buzzing cousin. Things are working all right here this morning. Let's have ourselves a sip of coffee. Let's test this stream. Let's test it. Test the stream because it's the best of streams. That's right. Just like Festivus. Are you folks getting ready for Monday? Wherever you're at, I want to thank you for joining me, dragging me along for the ride here this morning. We're going to get the chatter going on this morning. What does that matter? And I got a couple interesting news headlines for you folks today. So I like it. Look out. What does that mean? It means we're getting ready for another bull market cycle. Another market cycle. What's a market cycle? Is that what you're going to ride to work on? Are you riding to work on a market cycle? Stock term of the day, market cycle. Hey, Twiddler's in the house. How you doing? Good morning, Brody. Ah, the Twiz. Having a little Twiz this morning. Let's take a look at this magic card here, the Reaver. Can you believe her? The Reaver here this morning, giving us something to talk about here on the morning show. Thank you, folks, for tuning in. What do we got here? 2 black for an instant that says creatures you control get 3/3 and gain trample until end of turn. If this spell was kicked, it deals 20 damage to an opponent. Wow. This just ends the game for 2 black. If you kick it, what's a kicker spell? 2 for 4 mana. You can do 20 and give your stuff overrun until end of turn. Seems overpowered, but oh yeah, this thing seems good. Maybe a little too good. Is it fair? Unplayable OP word salad. This is gonna get the OP. Nah, 89% of people say it's OP. Some people say it's fair. How about this one? Ghost Champion. Human Wizard 1/1 for a black. Some black cards here this morning. Human Wizard 1/1. Pay 3, sacrifice Ghost Companion, return target creature card with mana value 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Reanimate. It unearths something. This seems fine. The rest will endure the trolls. I reached every death in a drop after that. Here are no more and create. Let's give it another pass. This seems all right. 1 mana for a 1/1, and then it's got unearth on it for 3 colorless. That doesn't seem actually overpowered. It seems fair. Let's give it a fair. Fair. 92% of people say fair. All right. And then we got this guy here, the Forge Dominate. We'll do one more here for you folks this morning just to warm up. Things are working good. The chat's working. The Carcinogen's in the house. Robert O'Brien's here. Benson's here. Twiddler's in the house. Ghost flavor text is nonsense, but the card's pretty good. Yes. I like it. Interesting times. What a time to be alive. We're checking out. We're looking at the next market cycle. What's going to happen? Are you I'm bullish. Brody's bullish here. Bullish Brody. Waiting for the next market cycle. That's right. Going to get my bicycle, tricycle. And look at this card. A 1 blue and 4 mana 4/4 angel. Cool art on it. It's got some blue, kind of like an ether head on this sucker. Look at the head on this angel. When Forge Dominant enters the battlefield, tap all other creatures. Gain control of all non-land permanents you don't control. For 5 mana, you get all the non-land permanents. I like it. See, this is the thing. People are like, this is overpowered. Well, with what Wizards of the Coast did with Modern Horizons 2, creating creatures, like if they print stuff like this good, you can't help but not open the packs, right? All right, one more. Vicious Ori EA. Ori EIEA. Oh, 1 black and 3. Vicious Ori EA has trample as long as you control 3 other creatures. Whenever you cast a creature spell, draw a card if you control a dragon. An 8/1. Cool. Nice stats on this one. An 8/1. Let's give it a pass. I want me some 8/1s. Very nice. Well, that's your AI. That's what the AI's cooked up for us. Actually, some not too bad cards. We've had days where like everything fails and it's all gibberish, but like today, aside from being a little bit overcosted, things are actually turning out to be some real magic cards. Okay, let's do one more. Sably Sliver. There's a sliver. Another black card. Cost you a black and 2 for this instant to put a 1/1 counter on each creature control. The next spells and abilities you control is a cat in the chosen player's hand. It's a cat in the chosen player's hand. I don't know. That we had to have one that didn't work out, didn't we? Just the way it goes. How you folks doing? Nice to have you here. It's Monday the 15th, and it's Brody Alfonso here at the stock desk, checking the prices of magic cards here this Monday morning. Thank you so much. We're enjoying the market being down. The market of magic cards being down. In a place where we can pick up cards for a good deal. What happened last week in the world of magic cards? Well, we're going to cover it here next for you folks. With this conversation over from the stock desk, we got an article that come out at the end of the week last week. There were weekly winners here from Arjun over the stock desk. We got weekly winners that are moving because of Commander, March of the Machine, and it's having some effect on the format. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about Magic cards. Hey Brody, I'm putting up videos starting today that people can comment on to enter and win the Black Lotus wall art. I want it. Haha, I will have to check it out. Thank you, Twiddler. Great idea. Let's get involved over there and see what's going on over the Twiddler's place. Here's your weekly winners for last week, Twiddler. We're excited to welcome a new writer to the team. I like it. First card, Breach of the Multiverse. All right, this card, 7 mana. Breach. This was a card that I think we saw in an Ancient Strings deck. Yes, that's right. If you remember tuning in last week when we were talking some deck text, this is a game-winning card that you can cast out of one of the Twiddle Storm decks. It's 7 mana. So this is one that says each player mills 10 cards. For each player, choose a creature or planeswalker card in that player's graveyard. Put those cards onto the battlefield under your control. Then each creature you control becomes a Phyrexia in addition to its other types. It's up 314%. Breaching the multiverse. Breaching the stock charts here this morning. Some good stuff. All right, so this one's up up to $4.10, up 314%. A newer card, though, right? So it's not as though this thing's been around for very long, but it's making waves. The Sorcery for March of the Machine's got an interesting price trajectory as it's the first showing up in the pre-release data, around $16. Holy smokes. Quickly falling down to only 50 cents, and now bouncing back up again to $4. Sure, $16 may be way too high for this card, but drop so quickly and then become popular again is interesting. For 7 mana, you get to mill everybody for 10 cards, and then get to put a creature or planeswalker from every player's graveyard into play. I think I might want to play this in my discard deck. Perhaps the card has gotten some camera time during the Pro Tour March of the Machine, where players were playing Orzhov decks, mid-range decks, and 2 copies ended up in the 3rd position. All right, what else we got? Breach of the Multiverse has also been recently received a lot of attention from content creators. And looking at commander playability, Breach is showing up in commander decks around builds with Kroxa and Kunaros, Shieldred, and Hidejitsu and Carry. It's hard to say what made the card move up this quickly again, but personally, the casual appeal for these commanders, along with the content creator videos out there on YouTube, may be the most important ones. We got Shieldred. Oh, that's the new Shieldred, the 4/5 with Menache. Enters the battlefield, each opponent sacrifices a non-token creature or planeswalker, and then you can pay a black and 4 to exile Shieldred and return to the battlefield transformed. Then you get this. The Saga True Scriptures. When it procs, each opponent destroys up to 1 target creature that or planeswalker they control. Second proc is each opponent discards 3 cards, then mills 3 cards. Yeah, maybe this Shieldred belongs in the discard deck. And then put all creature cards from all graveyards onto the battlefield under your control. Exile the True Scriptures, then return it to the battlefield. Then return it to the battlefield? It just comes back? Really? This is disgusting. Holy smokes. So a saga that just keeps coming again and again. Whoa. I'm going to have a sip of coffee and talk about this card. All right, Kroxa and Kunaros. Hidejitsu and Kari. A couple cards pushing that Breach the Multiverse up in price. It goes infinite with Dual Caster Mage and a sack like Ashnod's Altar. With these 3 cards, you could definitely keep casting Breach the Multiverse. All right, number 2 on our list of the weekly winners from last week, we've got Min Willy Illusionist, Fair Riding Gnome Wizard. This card and a brain. Shout out to the dual brain. If you see this art on this card, I see a brain with legs on it. I like it. Little brain. Okay, what does it do for us? other than go up in price, right? It's sitting at around 525, was closing in on $6. Well, the 1/3 for 2 blue mana, legendary creature gnome wizard says whenever you draw your second card each turn, fairy mastermind, create a 1/1 blue illusion creature token with this creature gets 1/0 for each other illusion you control. Ooh, they get more powerful the more illusions you get. And then whenever an illusion you control dies, you may put a permanent card with mana value less than or equal to the creature's power from your hand on the battlefield. It gets a flip stuff straight onto the battlefield. That's kind of cool. This rare from Commander Adventures in Forgotten Realms can be found in the Dungeons of Death Commander deck and is fairly popular in Commander considering it's currently the 151st most popular commander according to EDHREC. Min can get you an illusion token whenever you draw your second card. And yes, it's every single turn, so not just your own. Even your opponent's turns can proc it. Since these illusion tokens all get 1/0 for each illusion you control, so one turn around the board, that can add up pretty quickly, making them 4/1s and 5/1s. And their second ability, with whenever they die, you get to put something from your graveyard or your hand onto the battlefield with power equal to or less. So that actually adds up quite quickly. She's also finding way into the 99 of decks with different commanders. The recent release of March of the Machine had some new legends that worked well with Min's ability. A new and interesting commander, Simone and Dina. Let's see these two. Black, green, and 1 for a 3/4. Whenever you draw your second card each turn, target opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. Sack another creature, draw a card. You may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield tapped. If you control 8 or more lands, repeat this process once. Wow. More ramp and a lot of cards that proc. This is a new Age of Magic on your second card for the turn. You're going to get to do something. Okay. Simone and Dina also cares about drawing their second card each turn, as well as a sacrifice outlet to the illusion tokens. Yeah, there's an engine right there. Another commander is Rona, Herald of Invasion. This is the one that goes loopity-loop with the Mox Amber. Shout out to the Mox man. Good morning. And as long as you play legendary spells, you get to untap Rona and loot. Powerful and cheap legendary spells are welcome in this deck, including Rograk, son of Rograk, and Mox Amber. But there's also Meloka, the Clouded Mirror, an older commander originally printed in Champions of Kamigawa that also wants to make illusion tokens and not really hard to see an interaction here. This one's the 2/4 with flying. Pay 1, return a land to your control, put a 1/1 blue illusion token into play. Whoa! We gotta add some landfall to that deck and then run it out with Min the Wily Illusionist. And then we'll be making all the illusions. Use your illusion here this morning. And finally, the Brazen Cannonade. Up 80%. Deserves a sip of coffee here this morning. Seems like this enchantment may have flown a little bit under the radar for a while, but its first ability can amount to a lot of damage in the right deck. Alright, well, let's read it. 1 red and 3, we get this enchantment that says whenever attacking creature you control dies, Cannonade deals 2 damage to each opponent. It's got a raid on it that says at the beginning of your post-combat main phase, if you attack with a creature this turn, exile the top card of your library until end of combat. On your next turn, you may play that card. So the first ability, if whenever a tracking creature dies that you control, it deals 2 damage to each opponent. It seems like its first ability can amount to a lot of damage in the right deck and like being experimented on with Pia Nalar, Console of Revival, this human artificer that says Thopters have haste. Woo! When you play a land card or cast a spell, you get a 1/1 colorless Thopter token. So one of those little Thopters are good because they have flying, they're hard to deal with, they swarm. And with this, it just gets a little bit better. Whenever they die, they deal 2. And then with this Pia Nalar, you're going to be making more tokens. Ardaw's Cobbler of War, legendary Goblin Shaman, 1/1 red and 1 haste. Whenever Ardaw's Cobbler of War, another creature enters the battlefield, or another creature enters the battlefield under your control, that creature gets 2/0. So you get a 2/0 trigger. That's a pretty decent. If we can give stuff haste. Okay, create a 1/1 red goblin creature token with haste. Activate as a sorcery. And then it becomes a 3/1 until end of turn because of the first part of Ardaz. What's this Garna? Bloodfist of Keld. Berserker human. Berserker for Rakdos. Black, red, red, and 1. Whenever another creature you control dies, draw a card if it was attacking. Otherwise, Garnet Bloodfield deals a damage to each opponent. Let's see who gets more kills. Uh-huh. It doesn't seem like this card has had a new interaction recently that made the prices go up. The main reason we could find that it's mentioned in Nitpicking Nerds video discussing commander cards most worth buying. It's definitely not the first time a video made a card go up, but it remains to be seen how well it will hold at this price point. So kind of an analysis paralysis here from Arjun over the stock desk. I don't know how impressed I am because every single rationale for all these cards going up in price is due to YouTubers making videos about it, and then there's just a bunch of horn blowing and mentioning all their names here and somehow tying that to the reason why these prices are going up. I tend to like a little bit more of an in-depth analysis, maybe some technical interaction, other than, oh, some famous people use these cards. I don't know. Sort of I mean, these are your weekly winners, but the rationale behind it is just a little bit weak, and I'm asking for better. Well, what can you say? You know, because Brody talked about it, that's why it's going up. Give me something real to work with here rather than speculation. Cascade Bluffs, $5, $4.72. This thing is cheap and moving up. I think it was a lot cheaper than that. This kind of was a bulk rare that you'd get in a few sets. Mana Fixing, Is It Land? Cascade Bluffs being identified as a premium penny stock feature. It should be picked up if it reaches the bottom and starting to get a little bit of an uptrend. Grave Titan. This is a card I like to play in zombies. This 6/6 giant costs you 6 mana or 2 black and 4. Death Touch. Whenever Grave Titan enters the battlefield or attacks, put two zombie creature tokens into the battlefield. So if you blink this, you get 2 more. If it attacks, you get 2 more. If you can give it haste and attack the same turn it comes into play, you get 4 zombies. That's bottoming out. Dark Depths. This is so sad to see. This thing's been reprinted into the ground. Dark Depths, a combo piece in Legacy. It makes a 2020. People are playing it more and more in Commander, finding new and creative ways to flip it. There's even a card that we saw spoiled a little bit ago, like last week we were talking about. It makes copies of 3 lands you control. Except this one's legendary, so that might actually trigger Dark Depths because you'd make a copy of it. I don't know if that would take the counters off. Oh, only time will tell. All right, an article here from Arjun giving us some weekly winners from the stock desk. The founder of the MTG stocks wants to buy Magic singles online. Our weekly winners from last week included Manamorphose, Norn's Choir Master. Norn's Chore Master. Sweep the floor, do the dishes, vacuum the stairs. Norm's Chore Master? No, Norn's Choir Master. And Nalphagy, the card with boobs on it. Right? How is this This is unacceptable. Get yourself a bro here this morning. Speaking of the bro here on the show, it's the morning show here on the 15th of May, hiding in the weeds here this morning. Brody's got you covered. Let's get into something. I know Robert O'Brien's in that. He's cooking with something. Cooking your goose here this morning. Robert, all right. Are you moving or shaking in your seat? Can you hear it? Feel that beat? Let's talk about it with me, Brody Alfonso, the 312 amazing subscribers who love this game as much as we do. Monday. It's Monday morning. Modern Monday. That's right. Are you going to Modern Monday or are you going to go play some cards today? If you can't make it to your local game store for Modern Monday, bring a friend to Brody's. There's always all kinds of fun videos. You can watch the replay. You can catch a little comedy. I wasn't around this weekend. I had to work. And I'm back at it again here today. But quite normally, the best part of my day is doing the show with you folks. That's right. Common theme here in the world. Let's see, we got to set a bit of a theme for this week. It's the 15th. Last week we were talking about acting right, doing the best that you can no matter your station in life. Today we're gonna talk about our weekly winners. Let's do it. Hey, good morning. Mr. Mike Hatcher's in the house. Merry Monday. Thanks for joining here this morning on the show. These are your movers and the shakers. Big Daddy Hatcher in the house. Look out. The big boys are here. That's right. All the big kids are here on the channel enjoying a little morning magic. Monday morning magic stocks. Thank you, Robert O'Brien. Thanks, Mike, for tuning in. Benson Twiddler. These are your... we just went over your weekly winners for last week. See what was making headlines, just like a corduroy pillow. These are your movers and the shakers here today. Joining me at the top of the list, you folks see it here for yourself. This is Spell Table Rock. This is the Sword of Fire and Ice. I like this. I'm glad this version is the one making its way up the top of the list. There's a couple of different art versions, and this is arguably being the best sword in Magic the Gathering. What do you think? Are they going to make another sword that beats this out? I know they've tried. What are we up to? 12 or 13 different swords in a sword cycle? Show us your sword, almighty one. Let's take a look at this beauteous card here. Let's change up the version. I'll tell you why I don't like the other one. This one here, this one looks like a bit of, you know, there's some people who call this a dog's penis. I don't know why. This one looks kind of odd shaped, the expensive Sword of Fire and Ice, but this is the OG. Sophie, that's what they call it. Got a name here for this one. Artifact for 3 mana. All these swords are good. They cost 3, and then the equip cost, sometimes I think it varies between 2 and 3 mana. This one's quite good. You get 3 mana for a sword. Equipped creature gets 2/2, has protection from red and blue. And whenever a creature deals combat damage to a player, Sword of Fire and Ice deals 2 damage to any target, and you draw a card. So it's a card draw engine. It's a zinger and a pinger. You know where I used to play this? Actually, Mrs. Alfonso used to play this on a really cool. It's just in white green taxes, right? The Mirren Crusader. This was sort of one of the better places to play the Sword of Fire and Ice. But these days, you know, the Sword of Fire and Ice just goes in any commander deck when you need a little bit of protection for your arsenal. You know, if the Pinkertons are at your door, grab your sword and fire and ice. Get protection from whatever color is showing up. Mirren Crusader is a good target. This 2/2 for 2 white and 1's got double strike on it. It's already got protection from black and from green, so the Sword of Fire and Ice kind of rounds that out. It gives you everything but pro white. What does that make it? A 4/4 with double strike. It hits for 8 and then does 2 more when it connects. Like, that's quite it. 2 hits from this baby draws you a couple of cards. You can kill a player. Sword of Fire and Ice from Darksteel. Why isn't it indestructible? I would love to see something like an indestructible sword made out of Darksteel. That might lure us into something. Any good lore coming out there, Mike? Let us know. Appreciate your content over here this morning, your viewership. We got all the big boys here. Anger Collection. Yo, yo, yo. Good morning, Anger. Thanks for being here. Grab yourself a cup of coffee. We're looking at your movers and shakers. We're shaking in our seat and we're tapping our feet this morning. Normally it's Modern that pushes this card. It's a really good sword. Some say it's one of the best. I don't know if that there's a better one out there, but the Feast and Famine seems okay. When we get spoilers that there's going to be a new sword, this thing sort of, you know, has speculation whether Wizards is going to make something better and dethrone it. But let's pull back a chart. We're talking market cycles here this morning, and like, this has been a long run, right? We've been a long bearish market. The market's bearish. Let's talk about that. All right. So what's a market cycle? Well, the modern market cycle tends to be a little bit different than the reserve list market cycle or vintage market cycle. The standard market cycle has now been extended from 2 years to 3. So we're going to see cards that are in standard block maybe hold their prices for another period of time, giving a little bit more stability over a period of time before they pump. They pump us up, and then they dump right after the market. They rotate out. Let's see here. Let's remove this sucker. Where's Brody's tool? All I want to do is draw lines on charts here. Hitting a ceiling of $80. This card was really, really expensive, and it still kind of is. It's $50 to $60 now. It's heading down on a sort of a east-west. It's just moving to the left, right? That's all it's moving to the right. That's all it's doing, and slightly down. It's probably going to do that for a period of time until we get out of this bearish market. But what does that mean for us? Like, it's definitely not at an all-time high. It means that we're going to be building our bags, building a buy list, figuring out what it is we're going to jump on once this east-west trajectory comes to an end and we start seeing a tick up in price in a few cards. What's it going to be? Should I open 16 Double Masters Collectors 2x2 today, Brody? Yes. Yes, you should. Should I open 16 Double Masters 2x2? Yeah, I would videotape it. Why not? I mean, okay. I mean, that seems insane, and I'm all about going ahead with something crazy and some insanity. Michael Superbacker, how you doing, buddy? Joining us all the way from Boston. Thanks again for tuning in here this morning. MTG Hillbillies here this morning. What a great show. It's Monday. Thanks, friends. Let's start our week off right. You know, it's amazing what you get when you put in a little bit of effort, a little bit of energy into the world, right? Try to be a force for good, you know. Give the world some positive energies. Try and stay positive, put on a smile, and like sometimes, you know, we've got fires burning up here in the north, and there's smoky outside, and there's people who are desperately trying to get those fires out. I'll hit you up on Discord. Sometimes you got to you ever heard the expression walk towards the fire? You know, whether your dreams, whether you have dreams, maybe you want to start a YouTube channel, or you want to take time to build yourself a Magic the Gathering storefront like Anger Collections. You want to build a good reputation out there. Maybe you're a storyteller or somebody who likes to entertain folks like Mike Hatcher over at his channel. Or maybe you're somebody who likes to play games and bring fun to the world with positivity like Twiddler. You know, whatever it is you want to do in the world, you know, sometimes we all have dreams and we all have goals, and sometimes we think, well, you know, maybe if just tried a little bit harder, or maybe if my circumstances were a little bit different, I would achieve those goals. But sometimes you got to just take one step towards the fire. You know, you see that goal, you see that dream burning in front of you, and you go, well, you know, once it gets big enough, it will warm me up, and it'll, you know, people will start gathering around. But sometimes you got to just take one small step towards your goal, whatever it is, whether it's becoming a YouTuber, maybe you want to start your own business, maybe you want to start an online store, maybe you got a side hustle, start to gain a little autonomy in the world, be your own person. You know, you got to take one step at a time towards that goal, put in the time, and eventually think good things will happen. And smile when you do it, because staring opposition right in the face with a smile on your face makes opposition weak in the knees. It's psychological. Let's put on a happy face. Sword of Fire and Ice here. Let's talk about this card. Decks using it. Plenty of modern decks here to talk about. Let's be a force for good in the world, right? Let's empower ourselves to achieve our dreams, and let's come up with a dream that fits the means. Whatever your station is in life, it can just be temporary if you move into something better. One day at a time, take one step towards your goal each and every day. And Monday is a perfect day to do it, because it's like that day that, you know, the most opposing after the weekend. It's kind of hard to get up and face the world. So get up, be like Garfield, kick the dog, and just come out swinging. You know what I mean. I got a busy day here planned today, but this is quite often the best part of my day, so I like to hang out with you folks and do a little chatting on the stream. See what's going on in the world of Magic the Gathering, because like if I don't check these prices, I'm going to be wondering all day what the heck is going on and what I'm missing out. I don't want to miss a thing. Hammer Time. Why not? Why wouldn't Hammer and Swords? Hammer Time's playing it. The Hammer Time deck is putting up some big stats. Let's look at modern events from over the weekend. What do we got for modern? Let's just run over to top 8 for a minute here. Last modern event over at top 8 was on the 5th. 3-format team. What is this? Huh? 3-format team competition in Haruya, Japan. Living End, Creativity, Dredge. Blue-Red, Aggro, Cascade, Crash, Stoneblade, and Murktide all putting up wins. Where does this put us with Hammer Time? Let's see here. Let's search it up. Colossus Hammer, right? That's the one. Hammer Time. Whoa. Colossus Hammer? Am I spelling it right? Of course I'm not. Brody can't spell. Colossus. 1 L in Colossus. Mono Hammer. Okay, so there was a... What do we got here? The 13th of May. May 13th. Mono Hammer was 3rd and 4th. Here's a 30-player tournament that happened over the weekend. Am I right? 30 players sat down to play Magic on Saturday, and this is a deck that hit top 8. Mono Hammer. Let's take a look at this version of the deck. Is it playing a Sword of Fire and Ice? Or is it just Hammer? No, it's Mono Hammer, so it's probably not got the sword. It's just got the hammers in there. Other spells. Colossus Hammer. Caldra Complete. This is another living weapon. It's like a Batter Skull, but even more ruthless. This living weapon. Equipped creature gets 5/5 and has first strike, trample, indestructible. It has all the abilities, and whenever this creature deals combat damage to a creature, exile that creature. Kill stuff, real good. Sigarda's Aid, Springleaf Jum. The Shadow Sphere is a pretty good card to throw in just about any modern deck. It removes indestructible and hexproof, and this thing gives trample and lifelink. So you could. This is actually a game swinging card. If you can put this on a flyer or something with evasion, this can keep you from dying a miserable death. All right, well, I don't see too many Sword of Fire and Ice making its way into the Hammer Time decks, but there are a few playing it as an option. You want to get some evasion, maybe you're losing to removal in the Hammer Time deck. Death and Taxes. This is usually where I would play it. The green-white taxes. What do we got here? Giver of Ruins. Skrella, the Deflector Might is now in green-white taxes. Okay. And another card that we keep seeing on the movers and the shakers list could be Crucible of Worlds. I don't see it in this particular build, but I know there's a version of the green-white taxes deck playing Crucible of Worlds, Ramanap, Excavator, and recurring Ghost Quarter, Field of Ruin, or the Ghost Quarter lock. You can even add that into your green-white taxes build with a card like Sword of Fire and Ice. This one's got 1 Sword of Fire and Ice. What are we're using the Stoneford Mystic to go get it. Who are we putting it on? Perhaps Malira, the Living Cure? If you get a poison counter, instead you get 1. And you can't get additional poison counters this turn. Exile Malira. Choose another target artifact, target creature or artifact, then put it into a graveyard this turn. Return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control. When it's put into a graveyard. Okay, you can exile her and then save one of your things. And then Thalia, the Guardian of Thraven, making things cost 1 more. She's a good target. She's got first strike already. But what else are we putting on? The Solitude, the Archon? Perhaps on the 2/3. Yeah, sword on this. Skrelv, the Deflector Might. Choose a color. Another target creature you control gains toxic. Okay, so we want to give it the protection and then make it toxic. do it, Anger. Let's put a poll up. Should Anger Collections, let's ask the audience, should Anger Collections open how many? 16 Double Masters Collector booths. Let's ask the audience. Let's ask the audience what they say. I'm pretty convinced we're not going to get a appalling no out of this question. I would think overwhelmingly yes, but maybe some people, you want to make money, right? Are we here to make funny or are we here to make money? Where's the money, Brody? Maybe it's in this Sword of Fire and Ice. You could do fairly well with those collectors. Let's go on to the movers and shakers here. Second card up off the top. Oh, Sword of Fire and Ice, two versions of it. This one and this one. We've got the Masters version, and then which one do you like better? I think the original. The guy's got a bit of a helmet on. Seems like a cool card. Steam Vents. Where's the steam, Brody? This one, we like it. Some of the Steam Vents, we've noticed that there's no steam on them. So I'm always looking for steam in my Steam Vents. I'll give you an example. There's like this Return to Ravnica that has it. The Infinity one has steam. This one here, Theros. Is it the Theros art? This one here, I can't find any steam in this card. I see just electricity. I even see some scaffolding. I was actually disappointed in this art. Dusty Cully kind of hit me up and said there's no steam in the new Steam Vents. But if you want to get yourself some Steam Vents, this might be the one to get because you've actually got the turbine showing there and some steam in the pipes. And this card's a good card. Is it land? Why is this card so expensive? Well, I think we answered that question just a little bit earlier. We're going to top 8 here. Modern list. As long as, see, 11% of the, let's grab our pen. As long as this number here, blue, red, aggro, it's 11% of the meta. That's a very high percentage of the meta game. If as long as this Murktide deck, Is It decks are in the top of the meta, we're going to see cards like Steam Vents staying at the top of the pile as far as price, and they're going to be hitting on the movers and the shakers. Let's scroll this chart back. I want to take a look at market cycles, okay? So we talked about market cycles a little bit and what it means. That means Brody gets his tricycle out. Maybe, you know, we're going for a bike ride. No, the market cycle is like, and it doesn't matter whether it's currency or whether it's cryptos or whether it's cards or whether it's commodities. Like, let's say soup in a can, you know, the market cycle of soup. It's the cycle of things going from a very high price to being on sale and cheap to pick up, and everything that happens in between. So you've got different commodities in the world, let alone magic cards, that are fluctuating in price, and sometimes a market cycle takes 2 or 3 years to complete, maybe 1 year. If we're stuck in a bit of a downturn or a depression or a recession when things are just steadily increasing in price and wages are going nowhere, a market cycle may take even longer. So let's put some lines on this chart here for you folks. And we're currently in a pretty good position because we're in the middle of a bear market, meaning prices have been going down. So let's put a line on this chart here. Let's move it back just a little bit. Let's put a line right here. So 2011, this card was $10. Of course, the first time the fetchies were released, the Shocklands, Mirrodin Besiege, right? So very early, we've got the first cycle. This took this card all the way up to $30 from January 11th to let's say January 2013. So there's a cycle right there. One market cycle. Ha ha ha. Okay, so then let's have a look. Let's get another pen here. Then we've got like a period of time with some significant east-west price action. Things just moving left to right and not a whole lot happening. Then taking us up to about the $30-$40 again. So this is another market cycle. Perhaps the metagame or reprints have an effect on that. There's cons in here, so supply would have been maybe a little higher. And then this hits $30 and then sort of ticks down in price again. I think we're kind of we would have just finished another market cycle back here in middle of 2021, beginning of 2022. So right about here. And now this is telling me that we're in for a bit of a ride heading sideways and potentially going lower for the next foreseeable future until something comes along and pulls us out of this bear market. What's it going to be? I don't know, but we are sitting on deck waiting and trying to visualize some of these charts here. Decks using it, of course, Indomitable Creativity in the Murktide deck, like we said earlier. The Murktide deck, as long as this Murktide deck... So what's going to change the market cycle? What's going to complete the market cycle for the Steam vents? It's going to be a reprint, or sorry, a new printing of something that is more powerful than Murktide. Once another set of color suits sees shift in this metagame here, shifting blue red aggro out of the top 11% in the modern metagame. Right now, Cascaded Footfalls and the Crashing Footfalls Rhinos deck and Murktide share about 10%, the top 20% of the entire modern metagame. Aggro decks consisting of 50% of the metagame entirely. Once we get a creature that's in another color suit other than red or blue, or perhaps this suited into the foot. I think the Cascade Crash deck is got different color variants, but it's definitely green and white. You want to just check out the mana base here. Yeah, so it's got Forest, Otawara, blue, multicolored, even running Steam vents. So what's going to complete the market cycle for Steam vents and push it out of the top most expensive lands in the modern metagame? It's going to likely be a printing of something in a new set that dethrones it and makes its way into the top 10 of the modern metagame and pushing out either Murktide or Cascade Footfalls if it's another color pair. But it seems to be really strong, and we always get support for that. Not likely it's going to happen, but with Murktide, Regent, Indomitable Creativity, and Footfalls all using red and blue, it's going to be very unlikely to see the Steam vents fall out of favor, because something like the black blue one, like Underground Sea. This is the entire Underground Sea versus Volcanic Island argument all over again. It is. I'm going to build myself one more cup of coffee here while we run through our movers and the shakers. Looking at Thoughtseize. Ah, yes. This is the Lorwyn version. This one's quite expensive. Up 4%. It's a card that it really is quite a punishing card. It's nasty to play against, and it's hard to sideboard against opponents who are running Thoughtseize because they get to reach right in your hand and take your good stuff. For 1 black, this sorcery says target player reveals their hand. You choose an online card from it. That player discards the card. You lose 2 life. When the Rock or Jund was popular, see, like a Jund deck. If a Jund deck come out or some more support for Jund and it's actually, becomes viable again, if we get something in black-green or black-green-red that becomes better than Murktide, that's when we'll see the Steam vents sort of fall out of favor, and then the Overgrown Tomb, or maybe some of the other color-paired lands might take a tick up in price and the Steam vents seem less attractive. But until that happens, we'll likely be seeing the Steam vents at the top of the pile until Murktide is dethroned this entire market cycle. Thoughtseize, 1 black, decks using it. This card has been printed a few times, and the Lauren version was all the way up to $60 at one period of time. And then we see it sort of chugging along here. starting at 20 all the way up to 60, and then down again with a couple of reprints, finding its way into some special sets and a few other variants. Let's take a look. We've got, what do we got for recent printings? Cheapest version, 139 ducks for the Avalon Cat Invocation. Time Spiral Remastered, giving it again with the OG Lauren and the OG Lauren foil, topping the charts at $283. That's definitely the most expensive one. Double Masters giving us a reprint of the same art all the way down for $18. There's definitely cheaper versions of the card, and this is a card where, you know, I wish I had the Lauren foil because it's big money. And point in case, like the original foils, if you want to see, where's the money, Brody? Okay, so right now the money, if you want to ask Brody, you got to look in the dumpster. And this is like running towards the fire, right? So the dumpster is on fire, and inside the dumpster, we're talking about Morning Tide foils just a few weeks ago, as well as Lauren foils, some of the cheaper ones. You can actually sort and filter the Lauren foils by rarity and pick some of them up for $1 or $2. Shadowmoor foils, and any of the original printings of any cards from Lauren Block, Shadowmoor, Morning Tide. There are some $1, $2, $3, $4, $5 rare foils in those sets. That might be a good place to start looking and moving towards, because the original foils always seem to hold some price. Rakdos Midrange, of course, is a deck that's seeing a lot of dominance in the metagame, including Pioneer and Modern. The mid-range decks. A lot of people don't like mid-range. The Bankbuster card that we were looking at saw some play in the mid-range decks. Linvala, the Keeper of Silence. This is another card from Rise of the Eldrazi. Let's take a look at some of the different art on this. Is there any other new art on this card? Okay, this new Linvala. So we've got the new Secret Lair Artist Series. When did this one come out? So which art do you folks like better? This one? This angel looks like she's up in the atmosphere, not just hanging around in the skies. This one is showing a little bit of... Ooh, 4 wings. Cuatros wings. Cuatros volios. 4 wings for this one. Very good art, showing a little bit of skin on the midriff, but then there's, you know, pick your poison. Do you want the fully clothed, overdressed? This one is clearly, this other version of Linvala, clearly it's winter time because she's wearing a lot of clothing to keep her warm from being up in the atmosphere, and some armor, a little bit of headgear. Single set of wings, or do you like the double set of wings? Let me know. This one's quite expensive. Foil version of Linvala, $271. Well, there you go. Maybe the money's in Rise of the Eldrazi original foils, right? Where's the money, Brody? Where's the money? It could be in Rise of the Eldrazi in the bulk rare bins. Go look for some foils over Rise of Eldrazi that cost you $1 or $2. This one's $271. Where are we playing it? It seems expensive. Some spikeage. Look at the way this card's... Oh, this is an older card too, all the way back to 2014 with Rise of the Eldrazi. Let's go with a little less aggressive chart. Some awkward spikes here, and this is why you got to watch out. This is why you got to watch out in the world of Magic, because you get had. What's this here? This spike up to $5,000? I don't think so. This is obviously somebody pricing it wrong over on eBay, or maybe somebody selling a copy to themselves, maybe mislisting it over on TCG Player, perhaps. Somebody who's cheated in wrong. Maybe it should have been $50 and they put it in at $5,000. Giada Font of Hope Commander decks are playing it. Why is this so good? 2 white and 2 for a 3/4. Activated abilities of creatures your opponents control can't be activated. So it's got like that null rod-ish type of a mechanic on it. It says, you know, it's got that collector oof type of mechanic for creatures. Activated, this will shut down your opponent's activated abilities. Hoser card. Linvala making sure people play fair Magic. And that's why she's up on the movers and the shakers here today. The Rise of the Eldrazi, just the original basic printing, coming in at 21 bucks. Grave Pact from 9th edition. I'm curious to know what the 7th edition foil is. If it is in 7th, 8th, 10th, 9th edition foil, 121 bucks. $120. Okay, Grave Pact. When was the last time we got a printing of this? Stronghold Planechase Commander Anthologies, 9th edition, 10th edition. Grave Pact, not seeing a lot of reprints. It's time for another reprint of Grave Pact, is it not? So where's the money on this one? 4 mana, enchantment card, 3 black and 1, says whenever a creature you control dies, each other player sacrifices a creature. This is really good, especially in I think we all know this is a commander slotted modern legal card. The bonds of loyalty can tie one to the grave. Brovax. Let's take a look at this card. Fairly stable. Wow, Brody just wants to put a line on a chart here. Look at this sucker here. Yes. A little tick up. So this, the market cycle here, this card's had a few cycles. And we're not talking about performance enhancing drugs. We're not talking about biceps. We're not talking about the juice. And we're not talking about wrestling. We're talking about cycles in the market. Let's see here. We've got, let's just roll this chart back a second. Okay. Let's go back to its release. So here's sort of the first cycle. This card, Grave Pact, started as a $5 card, and then it took itself all the way up to 10. And then, like, it's not that uncommon to see a card that gets released that's pretty good, have some support, some playability, and like double in price from its initial release. And then, like, what happens after that? Sometimes if it sees a reprinting, we can get like the 50% haircut, where things start to drift downward, and we didn't see that with Grave Pact. In fact, it went from $5, it doubled to 10, and then it took like a 25% haircut back to $7.50 until taking its next leg up in price, people realizing how good it is, and then effectively going 3x from the $7.50 mark all the way to 18 bucks. So a $20 bill, right? And this is sort of where we're probably going to anticipate the 50% haircut, right? It could be dropping back. So that's one cycle, boom. So here's another interesting point. Then it pulls back to about 12 bucks. There's some traps, okay? You want to talk about traps? Let's talk about traps, okay? When we look at some of these movers and the shakers, you've got some magic cards, right? And this is sort of something that people try and time the market, right? There are some traps in here. If you're holding on to some magic cards, for example, Brody's building a buy list, right? And you're like, I've got a copy of this foil Linvala. This is it here. I'll show you a trap, okay? So Linvala, Keeper of Silence. Let's say you're holding on to the foil version of this one and you want to sell it. It's 271 bucks. So traps are like this. If you're waiting for a round number, say for example, I'm not selling it till it goes to 300, even 300. That's a trap, because or even the 250. If you're trying to sell, and it doesn't matter whether you're selling magic cards or, you know, fruit at the store, maybe you're selling a used car, maybe you're trying to offload some goods on Facebook Marketplace, and you're trying to get a round number, especially with magic cards, it's very, you know, you're like, okay, it's not quite where I want to sell it yet, but you could have done really well if you sold it at 271 and then it goes to that 299 mark and it doesn't hit that $300 mark, and then it takes a 50% haircut because a bunch of people who were not so greedy and they were okay with 271 or 285, they sell up and it drives the price out back down, gives you that 50% haircut, and then it never reaches that round number. So be aware of round numbers, especially in markets. It doesn't matter whether you're stock trading. A lot of people get these affirmation with round number, like as soon as it hits $5, I'm selling it, and then like $4.99 it goes south and it doesn't hit that $5 mark because people are smarter and they're like, no, that's a trap, waiting for that round number to come along. And that happens a lot in stocks, in commodities, and in buying and selling. Holding out for that perfect round number You know, oh, when it hits 20 bucks, I'm selling, but it goes to $19.50 and you don't pull the trigger. So that's a common occurrence. It's a trap in market buying and selling. It works all the way into the stock market. You see people manipulating the prices based on round numbers. You know, right before a stock hits that $25 even number, a bunch of people dive out of it at $24.50 because they know there's people waiting for that round number. That's a trap. It's like what they say in Star Wars. It's a trap. So look out if you and it's pretty unassuming. Like you don't know what's there and you think, oh, I'm just kind of waiting out to get the right price that I'm looking for. But there's other people looking at the exact same market you're looking at, and they're trying to gauge when the majority of people will be selling and try and sell before you at the top dollar they can before taking a haircut. So Grave Pact, another good card on your movers and shakers here this morning, including the original Is this the original Elspeth? I think it is. This is the good one that gives us 3 soldier tokens. Ranging all the way from the Masterpiece, the Guilds of Ravnica Masterpiece foil, qu'est-ce que c'est? This one's 88 bucks, but I want to say this is the good Elspeth. This is the one that costs 4 mana for this Planeswalker, right? A really cool card. Hope you all enjoy your day. Thank you, Carcinogen, for joining us here. I appreciate you for hitting that subscribe button and joining the patron, the latest patron, the greatest patron. That's Carcinogen joining us over on the patron. Big things coming up for you, and those Brody Alfonso t-shirts are going to become more and more important as time goes on and as we continue the show. You're going to want to be seen wearing a Brody Alfonso t-shirt. I'll tell you that now. So hold on to them. Don't use them as a floor mat or to wash the dishes or you know, plug up the tailpipe of the car. Though you're gonna want to be seen wearing those. It's gonna be quite rewarding. This one's +1 is put a 1/1 white soldier creature on the battlefield. Oh, this isn't the one that gives you 3 soldiers. Okay, I thought it was a little better than that. But target creature gets +3/+3 and gains flying until end of turn. So this is the other +1. And then -8, you get an emblem with artifacts, creatures, enchantments, and lands you control have indestructible, a decent Elspeth. But I think nobody's fooling anybody here. It's played in Commander with any of the white decks, including Atraxa, Praetor's Voice, Azeka, God of the Tree, Argus, Cost Eternal. I don't know when the last time anybody saw Elspeth winning a Modern championship or a Modern game, but it definitely had its day where people were playing it in turns and using those soldier tokens with evasion to close out games and pose a threat. Good morning, Prime 406. New work schedule. How's it going? Thanks for joining us. Cool. Brody's on a new work schedule, working 7 days a week, no days off. But I couldn't wait to get up and do the morning show to talk to you folks and wish you guys a little bit of peace, love, and happiness out in the world. Asking you folks to do whatever it is you can. If you got a dream in mind, if you want something more out of the world, if you think, hey, I'm more than just this job that I'm doing and I keep slugging and bugging my way along in the world, trying to get ahead one step at a time, whatever it is, dream it, think it, and start taking one small step towards the fire each day that you get up. Even on Monday, Brody's slugging it out to join you folks and send some positive messaging out into the world. Let's make this world a better place. Let's do it together. Let's go. Where's the money, Brody? Maybe it's in this Arcbound Ravager. A lot of people were excited. Like, I think this is something different between what Wizards is doing has done then and what Wizards was doing now with the inventions. Like, this is a top tier invention, if you ask me. How much is this one? 86 bucks for this Ravager? The Ravager was a really good card. It was played in Modern Hardened Scales and an Affinity. It's had its day. It definitely has. How much has the Invention Ravager gone up in price? We're talking about market cycles. So here we're looking at a couple of different cycles on the Ravager when it's coming out. This particular one in Kaladesh. The Kaladesh block or an Aether Revolt coming in here at the started at $100 and topping out at as much as 175. So the first little cycle for Ravager was when it started out, like I said, it started at $100, and then it's not that uncommon for shortly thereafter a card that gets printed that is very popular and quite good to take a 50% haircut, and that's what we saw here. So card comes out, it's very good, and then time goes on, it gets out into circulation. Good morning, Adam Hamlin. And then it takes a 50% haircut down to the $75 mark, and then a slowly east-west price trajectory, taking it up to a new high. Cycle number 2 for the Ravager. Cycle number 2, going from the 175 and the Kaladesh Inventions. This is sort of when these affinity decks started falling out of favor, and we just got some of this east-west price action where Ravager taking another tumble, maybe like even more than a 50% haircut here, all the way down to $61. So yeah, and then it's gone east and west for a period of time after that, and now the next Ravager cycle starting around Strixhaven, because this is when we had a little bit more support for the Ravager and the Ozlith and things that move tokens around, and token decks that have creatures that have counters on them getting a little more support, pushing this the best. I think, my opinion, this is a fact based solely on my opinion, that this is the best version of the Ravager, short of the original one. And now we're trending. This is where we're at in this market cycle. It's going to be a long one, a bearish market. So like the last time we had a bearish market on Ravager was like a 2-year period. So buckle up, settle in, get your eyes on some prizes, figure out what it is you want to get into your collection, because we are going to be in this little bit of a bearish market for another little while, but it's averaging down. People are, I wouldn't be buying new products from Wizards right now because I just don't like the stuff that's coming out. And I think, with a 3-year standard rotation and getting a lot of direct singles that are really expensive fresh out the pack, those things, like when $1,000, I wouldn't be buying $1,000 Ragavans right now or Invention Ragavans, because the 50% haircut on a $1,000 card is a lot to take. Good morning, Superfast Tord. Can't stay, wanted to say hi and hello. Train Wi-Fi reception gets terrible, but I love you, Brody. Thanks, Superfast. Big hug to my bro here this morning. Enjoy your day. Peace, love, and happiness to you, my man. We're talking market cycles. Let's look at the Modern Masters version. What other versions of Ravager do we have? In foil, Kaladesh Inventions, the Mac Daddy. This is the most expensive one. And then the Shining Shoal. Shine your shoal, Governor. Sit on down. Gonna shine your shoal, shine your shoes, shine you up. This guy's wrapping himself in toilet paper, right? Is that what this is? A bunch of fishes. He's getting TP'd. This guy, obviously, he's getting hazed by some new folks at the frat house. They're like, grab the toilet paper, wrap this guy up in a few layers. Never mind. 2 white and X, the Shining Shoal from Betrayers of Kamigawa. Arcane. So here's another point in case. We've heard from folks over at Wizards of the Coast that tribal is going to be getting less support. And like tribal sorcery, there was tribal sorceries, and I kind of missed out on playing with some of the tribals, because there's like tribal spells. They're not just there's not just tribal creatures and playing creatures of a certain type. There's tribal sorceries. Arcane is the one that allows you to splice this onto another card that has splice onto Arcane. If you give you another example of that, Goryo's Vengeance, I think. Goryo's Vengeance. I think this one has splice onto Arcane. Yeah, splice onto Arcane. So something that we may not see again, or might be a while before we see it, is the splice onto Arcane, or Arcane in general. I don't know that we're going to be seeing tribal sorceries again, like Tarfire. I think Tarfire. So these are some of the Tarfire. I think this Tarfire is a tribal sorcery. Yeah, so instant tribal. So this is something that Wizards' current management and staff and game development folks have said, we're going away from tribal sorceries. I think they're also been moving away from this Arcane. Is there any recent Arcane spells out there that you guys can correct me on? I could be wrong. Usually wrong a couple of times a day. Might as well start early. But if there's ever a change in game design leadership, and we do end up going back to tribal or arcane, some of these cards can be quite good. Maybe getting some more support. And what that would be, this is $42 for the Shining Shoal in foil. You may cast a white card with converted mana cost X from your hand rather than pay this spell's mana cost. It's got an alternate cost. So this one is you exile a card. The next X damage that a source of your choice would deal, you or other creatures you control is dealt to any target instead. Wow. So you can exile a white card in your hand with a mana value X. Maybe the Chancellor of Annex. Maybe this is where you're playing it. Look at this. Holy smokes. The Shining Shoal taking a bump up in price here recently. Like, what? Holy smokes. Look at the chart on this one. All right, going as high as $50 right here. Let's take a look at the ceiling on this sucker. $50. And then returning to that price all the way down to 10 or 15 in the past. Floor and ceiling on this card somewhere in between here. So, like, is it really going to stay there? I couldn't tell you, but it's definitely interesting to see a card like this moving up in price once again. Where's it being played? Mono white humans. What's the big human? What are we exiling? Solitude and Ranger Captain of Eos. So we're removing a Solitude from our hand to is it a white card? Is it any white card? Remove a white card with Commerdomatic X from your hand. So Emeria's Call from Zendikar, 7 mana, creating white angel tokens. It's also a land. So you can play this as a land. You can also pitch it to Shining Shoal to direct or redirect 7 to your opponent's face. Can actually win you the game. Doesn't seem too bad. But these are your movers and the shakers today. And the last one I'm going to talk about here, we're going to do one more article, is the Doubling Cube. $17. 2 mana artifact, pay 3, tap it, double the amount of each mana type of mana in your mana pool. Cool card. I think it's more of a commander card though. Hey, look at the chart on this one. How cool. This is just doubling cube. Look at the cycle on doubling. So here's an example of one card that has had just a really long price cycle. So when we're talking about market cycles, here's a cycle on Doubling Cube, right? Like, look at it. It's this is a 10-year cycle from 2011 all the way to 2021. And the interesting thing about market cycles is because even though Doubling Cube is on a trajectory of its own, unlike any other card in Magic, for apparently Doubling Cube finally seeing its day in Strixhaven, going all the way from the mere cost of $1 or $2 up to the $30 mark here, and now taking that 50% haircut right down to the $15 mark, and now it's seeing some action on the movers and the shakers list. This would have been a 10-year hold. So if you want to make money, like something like this is going to take you a long time to do it. And if you like volatility, where cards are going through market cycles that are more frequent, say, you know, there's a lot of cards that may have had 2 or 3 cycles in the 10 years that this Doubling Cube has taken. This is a very interesting case to look at, the Doubling Cube. All the commander decks using it, including Omnath. I think just getting better and better Omnaths all the time is going to have something to do with this. These are your movers and shakers here this morning. Folks, it's no joke. We got two more articles, a quick one to bringing to your attention here this morning. I got to bring something to you, something very important, non-Magic the Gathering related, but it is definitely market related. We're talking stocks, we're talking Magic the Gathering, we're talking currency, we're talking value, we're talking money here on the morning show. So let's check this out here. I want to definitely look at this article with you folks here. What's happening up here in Canada? If you have any Canadians watching, I want you to tune in and just pay attention to this, because this is important news and it tells you there's some interesting things going on up here in Canada. Central bank digital currency. The Bank of Canada has put out, good morning. The Bank of Canada has put out this article and this poll to inform Canadians on the fact that they're entertaining the digital currency, the digital dollar. Now, we've talked about cryptocurrencies and we've talked about currencies and world currencies. We talked about swap lines, the US dollar. We talked about BRICS. We talked about countries that are swap line positive and countries that are supporting the US dollar, countries that are not supporting the US dollar. But this seems like an interesting point of conversation that folks aren't aware of. I've been talking about folks out there in the real world, just out on the street, and asking them what they know about CBDCs. And when you hear that acronym, you'll be like, what's a CBDC? No, it's not the oil that makes you feel funny. It's central bank digital currencies, and the Bank of Canada is exploring the possibility of issuing a digital dollar, also known as the central bank digital currency. Find out what a digital dollar is and where we're doing this research and how you can get involved. Simply put, the Canadian dollar would be in a digital form of cash in your wallet, like cash. Let's look at the euphemism behind this article here. If you're trading stocks or you're an investor in Canada or you're trading stocks out of your TFSA, how would you like to know the fact that, there's something behind your money, that there's actually a tangible good, like a hard piece of cardboard or a magic card that goes with it? Hold on a second. Okay, so simply put, we want to have something behind. Good morning. You're welcome. We want to have something behind our money. Like, that's why I like the cardboard, right? The cardboard magic cards, you're holding on to it. You can see there's something there. If you're trading stocks out of your TFSA or you've got stocks in your account, you're basically dealing with a broker, and they call them that because they make you broker. They're actually selling you a certificate, because when you go to get your oil stock or your piece of the pipeline or whatever it is you're buying shares in, you can't find it. They're just going to give you a piece of paper back and say, you own a small percentage. You won't actually get anything like physical. If you buy stocks in an orange juice company, you can't show up and say, I want to be paid back in orange juice. It doesn't work that way. But how would you feel if even the dollar, so now we've got one layer. And it's sort of like, consider like Brody's going to mint some NFTs of magic cards. And I'll send you the copy of the card. I'll send you a picture of a magic card. Now, that's sort of like what we're going here. Not only, I would like to have the magic card, but we're going to a scenario where, well, I'll send you a picture of that magic card and I'll sell it to you for the same amount of money. But then when you go to get the magic card, where did it go, Brody? I don't know. It's not there. Where's the money? I don't know. So how would you like to know that the banks are considering moving to a digital dollar? And if you know anything about currency and history in the world of currency, the U.S. greenback used to be backed by gold, and so did many others. And then it went to the petrodollar, where it was backed by petroleum or oil wells or reserves, so we could gauge the amount of money we could print based on how much oil is in the ground, much like other commodities in the world. But the digital dollar, what's backing it? I don't understand. Is it just a calculator, buttons that they push in there? Is there any actual tangible goods? Well, you can read this here. Bank of Canada is doing a get involved seminar. They want to hear from folks to simply put the fact that the Canadian dollar would be in digital form of cash in your wallet, and like cash, they're pumping it up. They're saying it's pumping. It's really good. It's like a great idea. Maybe to younger folks out there who haven't been around for a while, this might seem like a good idea, but the advantage is that, so they list a lot of euphemism and a lot of advantages here. And this consultation information, there's a survey right here that you can take the survey. If you folks want to look and get involved and take the survey, let's take the survey before June 19th, because we've only got so much time to take this survey. I want you folks to chime in and see what you think. Is this something that you want to get involved in? Let's put it in the chat there. Can we put that survey in there? No, we can't. Can't even put the survey in there. but they ask a lot of questions about digital moving to a digital wallet. And the problem that I have about this is what happens if somebody loses, makes a mistake, the network goes down, poof, all your money. You shop somewhere that they don't think you should, and then the next thing you know, poof, all your money is going way of the dodo. So that's what's going on in the world of currencies, the world of finance, the world of the markets. If you haven't heard of the consultation period for any of you Canadian YouTubers out there, folks who trade Magic the Gathering and talk card prices, why aren't you talking about digital currency? You're talking about microtransactions. So microtransactions are small transactions that are smaller than a penny. So when we talk about the dollar, you got 0.01 pennies. But did you know you can actually wreck an entire financial system by creating transactions and millions of them that are less than a penny? You can actually take over the world of, and keeping it less than a dollar. It's quite interesting. There's actually a project going on right now. It doesn't have much to do with Magic cards. But speaking of Magic cards, let's take a look at one more article for you folks today, and then I'll let you get on with your day here. Speaking of increases, market cycles, and turn of events, prices of Magic cards, let's talk about this one here. MTG EDH trend causes a 766% increase in a bulk card. March of the Machine Pro Tour actually had an impact on the secondary market. We don't see the standard tournaments making a massive impact, but the Pro Tour being the pinnacle of the competitive MTG has definitely made a difference, and since this was somewhat expected event, we already discussed many of the cards that saw some significant finance flux as a result of Steve's newest achievements. That said, all done, standard is the usual motivator for secondary market prices at MTG, which means there's still a lot more to cover. Sky Hunter's Strike Force. This card costs 1 white and 2 for a cat knight flying with melee. Whenever this creature attacks, it gets 1/1 until end of turn for each opponent you attacked this combat. Lieutenant. As long as you control your commander, other creatures you control have first strike. Adam Hamlin, what's up? Lieutenant is an interesting commander keyword that applies its effects when a commander is in play. Skyrunner Strike Force cares about decks that want to deal a lot of combat damage. Since your commander instantly turns into a melee anthem, you need to be attacking all your opponents for melee to make a big impact. So this commander is best suited for decks that want to be attacking a lot. Ironically, it's this card in game appreciation and commander that's not bad, likely going to put it up in price. Knights have been surging lately thanks to the new Eminence commander for March of the Machine. The Knights Charge pre-constructed commander deck has been driving up the price of many Knights. That is the mildly playable in the format. We did not see a reprint in recent sales. Cats are also popular in the format, but that's one that can be causing a price increase on its own. For the time being, Skyhunter Strike Force is selling for about $6.50 according to TCG Player. This is massive when you put it into consideration that this card wasn't even $1 a month ago. To be precise, the card was going for about 75%, signaling a 766% price increase. And that is your Magic the Gathering news. Benny Brax, zoologist. There's a few other ones here, but that's the main one that's taken a 700. That's a pretty big price increase. Is it going to take a 50% haircut? Probably. Is it going to stay up there for a long time? I don't know. But that card can definitely turn some heads when you see it played in a commander build. It seems really good. Good morning, fans, folks, friends of Magic the Gathering, those 312 amazing subscribers who love the game as much as we do. Do you like tracking the prices of Magic cards? Is there enough information out there, or is there just too much gall darn information? Let me do it for you. I'm doing it each and every morning here on the morning show. Here it's Monday, May the 15th. May the 15th be with you. Here on the morning show. Thanks for watching, everybody, for tuning in on the channel. I want to thank you once again. Hit that like button, subscribe button. I like it. Michael Superbacker, thanks for joining me. I'm off into the land, the world. Check out your Magic the Gathering news, check out the prices, check out what's going on with the central bank digital currencies. It could be coming to a country near you, and if you don't speak up, you're going to be speaking over top of. Don't let that happen. Have a voice, make your choice, vote with your wallet, and let's get the conversation going. Thanks for keeping the channel growing. This is Brody Alfonso, May 15th on the morning show. Thanks again for tuning in. You guys have a wonderful day, and we'll see you all tomorrow.